Um, Today is the first day of November in 2016, and it's also a fresh start for me personally within the season that I'm in, the things that I'm going through and transitioning in life. And so, the topic that I want to talk about today is kind of right on track of me keeping my commitment to actively changing myself to better myself. So I seen something, it's a habit for us to wake up and check social media, and I saw something today that kind of got my attention, and I felt it was time to share my story in hopes that it would maybe help provide some type of viewpoints that I have on this particular topic, and maybe also to help encourage or uplift somebody today. So pretty much I saw a Facebook live video of a young girl who looked to be between the ages of 14 and 16. And I wouldn't say anything she was doing necessarily was wrong, or I'm not coming from a place of judgment. And I don't have any children. I'm only 25 myself, but I have a very old soul. So I'm 65 really. So I can speak on behalf of the elders that have reincarnated through me, that this child, it looked like she didn't have parents around based on the things she was doing, rolling her eyes and lips and tongue and popping and and all hype over the who was viewing her, and speaking to the boys, hey Marcus, hey, teenage stuff. We've all been teenagers. That's when your hormones are raging, and in some cultures, by the time you're a teenager, you're being married off or starting your life anyway. So there's not a problem as far as what she was doing, because it's kind of natural to feel that way as a teenager. The problem lies in the fact that, like I said, it seemed as if no parental people were around, because of course she probably wouldn't have been doing all of those things in front of her mom or dad or an elder that she respected. So I just wanted to share a little bit of my story to kind of piggyback off of that observation. So I think technology is really taking a toll on the youth today and their mindsets and their outlook on life. And I do think that although it's helpful, the internet can be really dangerous, especially to not what's the word? Not a mature mindset. So to be not fully developed in your thinking skills and even your relationship skills, I think technology can really interfere with that. So I was born in 1990 when technology started gravitating to what it is now. MySpace was just coming out. I remember in third grade, the Apple computers that were kind of round in the back and they had all the different colors. Like I remember that, like third to fifth grade typing classes. So everything was just starting. So MySpace, and then by the time I got to college and I graduated high school in 2009 and entered UNCG that summer, 2009, that August, excuse me, that's when a lot of dating apps were out that I was involved in. I think Badu and Tagged, maybe like later on while in college, Plenty of Fish came out. So there were just various avenues to access people online that I hadn't had before. Now, my background as far as the home that I lived in, my father did not live with my mother and I. I may have seen him throughout the years, but the relationship wasn't being built as much as it could have. We're in a better place now that I'm an adult, and I appreciate that. But that's just the facts of what it was, no matter the reason, whether it was because of issues between, my two parents, or, somebody just really not being present or not wanting them around. Doesn't matter. We're at a new place now. And then my mom had to work so much to provide for our home. I remember staying with cousins when I was smaller, and then as she started progressing and making more money, she was able to keep me, or provided the opportunity for me to go to art school. So that really kept me busy and focused on my life goals, school, and all of that. So I said all that to say with technology. When I was 16, that's when technology kind of was a big deal for me. for one, phone conversations was a big deal in writing letters back then. So I had been engaged in a phone conversation with a gentleman that went to another high school, and that lasted for a few years, and it ended up, not becoming what I wanted it to be. But that was a pivotal point in my life, just that phone conversation. And then I was an avid reader, and I started reading Zane books. And if any of you know about Zane, she's an erotic writer and is not appropriate for the youth to be reading, especially not at that age, because you're so influential. And so I started getting ideas about things that initially I wasn't. I was very focused. I was very in the church and focused on God and having a husband and being married and being a virgin to marriage and all of that. But that was my goal. And as I started reading that, I felt like I was missing out on something. Like, I need to be a part of this sex world. Even though I physically wasn't feeling like I was ready to do that, this book kind of influenced me. The fact that I was talking to a brother from another school that was already active, and then the onslaught of, this internet. So you had, I didn't even remember doing this, but I was going through an old diary and I saw I guess Yahoo Messenger. So like the chat rooms on there. Like I never got caught up in anything or met anybody or anything, but just the fact that I use that as an outlet to reach out to people. I guess maybe being an only child, and not being able to go to a lot of people different house, in my neighborhood or school or anything. Maybe I was searching for some type of attention outside my home. But yeah, so I started engaging in sex because of the influences of Zane and the fact that, this boy I was talking to had already been active. I felt like I was missing out on something. So I said all that to say, I really feel like children need to be protected. And I'm starting to feel more and more, based on my experiences and what I'm learning, that maybe women should be protected by the men in their lives, whether it's a husband or a father figure or uncle or whatever. I feel like the attention that we receive from the world is sometimes misinterpreted, or that's when we're able to be attacked by, things in this world, because we don't have that protection over us. And I'm not saying this to say that women should never leave their homes and we're just victims waiting to be trampled upon, but I am saying that there needs to be some type of masculine energy and male guidance that is known in the life of women. And I say that because losing my virginity came about when my mother was working third shift. Now, I was a very good child, very good with my grades in school. I think I was pretty respectful for the most part until maybe the teenage years, started talking back a lot more. But the first and only time I snuck somebody into my mom's house was because she was working a third shift job. So me being a good girl that I was, she trusted me enough to be asleep and, not doing nothing crazy. But me being a teenager that I was, and not having a father figure around or a male that I had enough, I wouldn't say fear, but enough reverence or respect that I felt like something would be problematic if he found out that I was doing this. Like I didn't have that. So just, knowing mom's schedule, knowing she's at work, get it where I fit in and keep it moving. So that's my observation, and that's why I feel like women really need male vouchers and protectors in their life, because from that moment, having that experience, losing my virginity, and it not being all I felt it was cracked up to be, just to get it over with, and then entering into college with the basis of being able to talk to whoever I wanted online, not only getting attention from people just driving by and saying hey, but now I'm able to meet somebody on a platform that it just was not healthy for me. So yeah, just seeing that young lady on the live feed kind of stirred up some memories for me, and I just don't want to see our youth go down this raucous, self-degrading path just to people please, to be liked online, and just, you know, have no standard of morals or self-respect. And I think a lot of that has the place to come in and influence our youth when there are no guardians around. I do believe there needs to be a strong separation between what is known as sheltering or making it to the point where your child cannot function in the world out, you know, after they move out the home or whatever, like to the point where, you know, maybe they regret or you know, their experience. Like, you don't want to put too much pressure on them when they feel like they can't do that, because you tell somebody not to do something, they're going to want to do it. But I feel like communal units of strong love and structure are needed for our families. And if men were really the protectors and providers for the women in their lives, and the village really did raise the child, in my eyes, I wouldn't see the need or the necessity of the woman working to provide income from the home, like working outside the home. Now, granted, you know, that's personal decisions in people's, you know, lives, but I feel like the need for it wouldn't need to be possible. And that way the man, the husband, can really protect his family, because your wife isn't being exposed to other men on her job or having to worry about what she wears, and the comments that she's going to get or the attention that she's going to get. Your daughters won't be, you know, exposed to certain things, because they'll know that they have this male guidance and figure around that is protecting them. And, you know, the mother can stay home and nurture and, you know, teach and show love to her daughters and her sons, so that they're not having to try to find it outside of the family unit and look for approval and everything and everybody else. So that's enough of my confession for today. I hope that helped enlighten some people on my viewpoints. And peace.